Hey guys, this is Hardy from Digital Painting Studio, and today is entry number 1 of my 5 Faces in 5 Weeks challenge. We're going to start with a really cool female character. It's going to be awesome. You are formally invited to join this challenge with me, and there are details in the description below. So jump on board, paint with me over the next 5 weeks, and let's see if we can really gain some skills. You might even win something cool. So today, let's paint a female character, and I'm thinking I might go with kind of a cyberpunk type of vibe, but really those style choices won't come until later in the painting. For now, I'm just working on sculpting the features of the face, trying to make her seem lifelike, trying to give her that personality. And with each face that I paint in this series, let's explore something a little bit different, kind of a topic to really chase and discuss for each one. So for today, let's talk about 2 main things. Why faces are so hard and why they're so powerful. And the 2 are really closely linked. But first, let's talk about why are faces so damn hard to paint. And I think that just comes down to there is so much to balance when we are attempting a face painting. First of all, there is anatomy. This stuff that we kind of just have to know. These parts of the face simply belong in certain places. So the eyes have to be level, the nose has to be in the right place. Just that basic stuff. The overall shape of the head, proportions, how the ears and the eyes line up. All of that stuff that you've seen in a million different art books over the years. That all really plays a close role. And if any of it is out of whack, the whole face can look really weird. So anatomy is the first tricky thing that we have to juggle. On top of that, there's just basic painting. There's form, value, light and dark. We need to use these artistic tools to make this form look three-dimensional and believable. So there are all of those artistic concerns that we have to weave in on top of anatomy. If we take that a step further, we have to have realistic skin tones. So it would be hard enough to render a realistic looking mannequin or statue, but when this is actually a living person, suddenly skin is involved. And skin is a surprisingly tricky material to render. Light behaves very strangely with skin. It's semi-translucent, so light sort of goes beneath it. There's all kinds of subsurface scattering of light. It makes the skin glow and behave in certain ways. So that's something that we really have to juggle too. And there's all kinds of nuance of skin imperfections, all the little blemishes that make something seem lifelike. Even if we balance those 3 things, anatomy, form, and skin tones, we still have to work on expression, personality. Even if we do all of these things right, it's sort of the question, who are we creating here? How do we want to feel about this person? And there is all kinds of psychology ingrained in that. The slightest little changes to certain structures of the face, and as I'm carving the forms of this face, you can see that little changes in how light appears on the corners of the mouth, or the eyes, or how the nose is kind of bunched up. The slightest little change in that can have huge implications for the overall feel of this person looking out at you. An expression can change very quickly from just neutral to somebody actually looking sleepy. It can go from looking thoughtful to looking disdainful if we just move certain minor features of the face. So very nuanced approach is required for this because the slightest change can just really drastically change the overall feel of this person. And that brings us to the final thing that we have to balance when painting faces, and that's just the whole human aspect of this. Your viewer, everyone on Earth, is hardwired to recognize the human face. So there's very little room for error on any of this. You have to get all of these things pretty much spot on, or it will just sort of be rejected or dismissed by your viewer. So that's a lot to juggle. And even if you do all of that right, people might just not like it because the character you have invented might look like someone who was mean to them in high school or something. So there's just a lot going on, and to cap it all off, this is a human being with all of the associated baggage and psychology that we are trying to attempt to paint here. Okay, so I have made painting faces sound like a nightmare. So why do it? Let's switch pages here. Let's go to why painting faces is so powerful. Well, all of the reasons that make faces such a challenge for us as artists to execute is what makes them so powerful. A huge part of character design that we're working on in Concept Art Academy is creating lines and forms in your whole character that direct attention back up to the face. Why is that? Why do that? Check this out sometime. Fully half of the trending projects any given day on ArtStation feature a human face very prominently. They are eye-catching. If you scroll through page after page of these project thumbnails, your eyes immediately go to the faces. They're relatable. We as people are just hardwired to kind of seek out our own likeness. We see those eyes. We see their expression. We relate to the story that they're trying to tell. We immediately start trying to wonder what's going on with them. And I think that's something that's just ingrained in our biology. We need to know what the other people we're looking at are thinking. So we're very good at kind of analytically observing these features. And that's part of why we seek faces out. So as an artist, when I am looking at all of these really well done faces on certain parts of ArtStation, for example, or Pinterest, or any other place where loads of cool artwork gets dropped on a daily basis, that's part of what I really appreciate. If I see a beautifully done face that balances all of those difficult things to juggle, that's really awesome. I enjoy that, seeking that out in other artists. And it is what I try to capture in my own work. Painting faces really might be one of my very favorite things to do artistically. And even though it is difficult, I'm certainly not like a glutton for punishment. I'm not seeking out something that's going to be agonizing and difficult. I seek it out for the challenge. When this goes well, after having learned a few things and really coming up with a formula that I'm always improving and getting better at, that is really exhilarating as an artist. When you can actually create someone, when you get to these moments in your face painting, when this character starts to come to life, that usually happens for me when I put that little highlight on the eyes. It suddenly just looks like a person looking out at you. That's quite a thrill. That's a really cool achievement that you can go after as an artist. So that's really part of what makes this so powerful. All of those human relatable qualities that make us recognize and seek out faces, all of the stuff that makes it difficult, is what makes it so rewarding. And from a professional point of view, this is huge in terms of your marketability and your competitiveness in fields like concept art or illustration. If you can do this well, you are showing a very high level of artistic skill and competency. So this is really worthwhile. Even though it's difficult, these skills are worth developing. So I really hope that you will come along for the ride with me on this. Let's see if we can all get just a little bit better in our face painting over the next 5 weeks. So let's check out the finished product here. I really love how this turned out. She is full of personality. I really like the brushwork. And I did a little bit of final polish treatment. I added a tattoo and some piercings just to give her a little bit of backstory, bring her into that cyberpunk space that I was going for. So pretty cool. I hope you like it. And if you are painting along with me, I hope you really love what you came up with as well and get a good portfolio piece out of it. That's it for now, guys. Be sure to subscribe so that you can catch the other videos in the series. Until next time, paint something cool today. Take care.